main event starting on Friday. Let's find out who will get to move on and who, unfortunately, will have to send home here today at the end of our group stage.
Space Station will have the first ban. We'll see who they're going to try and take away from the attackers, as they will be starting on defense. So the colors were correct. Blue, we're good on that. Immortals is on offense. Just always have to double check. You never know when they're going to try and throw you for a loop. And I actually still have Parker's scar here. I just realized I'm sitting on it. So
His scar?
His scarf.
Okay.
So I was sitting on it.
Weird.
Don't tell him, guys. Don't tell him, Twitch chat, please. Don't do that. All right, get that out of the way. But Glaz going to be banned by Space Stations. Will pull that away from Immortals. Just take away a little bit of that sight pressure that Glaz can exert with his smoke play. Everyone knows so very well. So Immortals will take out the next ban. It's going to be Maverick.
With Immortals picking that one, this also means they get the first choice for the defense ban. Maverick is something, if we take a look at Immortals, we actually don't see that ban out super often, just looking at their ban history here. So that would have been a newer choice for them. And again, generally I think plays into this map a little bit more, helps you out. Specifically, the best example I can think of is on that west balcony wall that you would push into Armory. Restricts the ability to knock that out and more easily handle things like bandits, batteries, and whatnot. And makes obviously a little bit more difficult to get past that wall. The two defender bans are now in though, obviously with Maestro being the more predictable one. Usually we either see him or Echo. The SSG guys ready to help them out at a moment's notice if the pause comes up, and we are in the opening round, as you had mentioned before. It's Immortals starting out on the attack here, and it will be Space Station on the defense.
Looks like we might be starting things out a little bit aggressive, but what would you expect from a Brazilian squad? He's going to switch out one person that flashes with a shield to one that flashes with some roly-polies, as he will pick up the Kandalas of Ying.
So many baits on blitz picks today. Have you noticing that?
Yeah.
Or just throughout the invite in general.
I guess it's just kind of a scare tactic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Blitz is a very terrifying operator to stare at.
It's blatantly obvious when he's not on the team though, right? Because you just don't hear the harrowing, I think we call it a choo-choo train.
It is a choo-choo train.
Yeah, you don't hear the choo-choo train coming in the halls. It's like, well, I guess we don't have to deal with that.
Truly terrifying, honestly.
But we will be seeing Space Station on their defense start off in the normal first site. It's going to be the Armory Archives start here for them. A little bit of expansion moving out, of course, to still hold with inside of the office. T'Challa goes for the reinforcements outside just to slow down that push a little bit from the attackers. And we'll see how far their defensive grasp likes to go from this site, whether they want to play this a little bit further out. Definitely seems like they're still going to try to vie for as much control of the office as possible, and then fall back into the sites afterwards. We'll check out the roaming presence and whatnot in a moment. But now that we do have the Immortals players out from their spawn.
Now, the main thing for Immortals is going to be really deciding where they want to start from. You see quite a bit of utility over inside of Office used. A couple of Chala's mute disruptors inside of there as well to try and stop drones. They have the triple wall over on the east side completely reinforced, so more than likely this is either going to be a CCTV take or just going to try and take control of 90 and push things onto the west side wall of Armory Lockers.
Of course, already moving in, two players with control of the east stairs. Navi's going to work his way down to the first floor first to start to clear out pressure a little bit more here before he starts moving in. Buck in the meanwhile played by Bullet. Again, just taking care of some of those default cams in the early round so you don't have to deal with them. Again, for the new players out there in Siege, those cameras are accessible by the defenders and in some circumstances the attackers, but we don't have the operator that allows them to do that, so we won't talk about that too much right now. Obviously, they're very easy to deal with, but if left open, it provides the defenders with a whole lot of info, so you're going to see players throughout the course of this game pre-firing onto that. Speaking of pre-firing, Bullet nearly finds himself an opening kill, but looks as though Space Station are able to get behind just in time. That nade as well going to go in, and once more does not look like it finds a whole lot of impact against the SSG roster.
Looks like Immortals is more or less focused on kind of a pinch take here. They do still have, they had the Buck on the window there for a little bit, played by Bullet, but he is going to drop off and rotate over to his friends over here on the east side of the map, balcony. But they do have the wall thermited open about halfway through the round. Really haven't made their presence too known over here. Fountain has been abandoned by the boys of SSG. PX will begin to drone inside of Archives. Once again, Chala's signal disruptors could come up big here if he's able to deny at least a little bit of information from the IMT boys. As you guys also saw, one of Redeemer's Echo drones is inside. Redeemer being most notably known for his Echo play, but one of them will be found, so he's going to be caught out with just a single yokai. Actually, no, it won't be found out. I thought I saw it get shot off the roof there, but he is going to be able to call out to his team exactly where this push is coming from for IMT.
Gonna get pinged, and a little bit of spam comes in as well to try and take him down now that he has been stunned out. He just barely survives. Sitting at a little over 5 HP, I do believe. However, it does not look like the yokai was actually spotted. He was able to either move it or reposition it very quickly, or it just recloaked itself and never got found out. So, still got both of them up, and some great damage was done to Navi's in the process. Not only that, but quite obviously, look at the time here. Immortals are going to be left with no choice in a moment but to attack. They managed to get the buck close to the site, and you can see him doing a little bit of reconstruction from the other room, but just hasn't been able to get himself inside of the next room over the server room where they might be able to stop this. PX is going to move in and go for a diffuser plenty.
What?
Might be able to get it as well, but look at this. Immortals are getting it done. 3 kills coming out of nowhere. The plant as well is going to get interrupted now, and they might still have the opportunity to do that again. The Echo's one of the last 2 still alive. I'm not sure if they stopped or not. That plant going down onto the ground, and it does successfully go in, meaning Redeemer is now left alone against Bullet and PX in a 1v2 clutch situation. Stuck inside of Mini right now. He does know he's got one directly by the window, as that's obviously where the defuse has gone down. He has an opportunity to try and knock out one of these players, and does successfully take him down, it looks like. But Bullet, in the meanwhile, still at about 25 HP. He knows he can delay this battle. Just try to wait up the timer on the diffuser. He's going to stick himself on top of it, wait for Redeemer to make a move, and there you go. There's the confirmation. We have the thermite down outside of the window. Good job by Redeemer. He'll go for the initial counter diffuse. Bullet's going to make the push, but he gets off of it in time. Finds the last kill. And now it's only a matter of whether he has time to get the counter diffuse, which I believe he does. So the first round will go over to SSG as Redeemer picks it up on the Echo in a 1v2 clutch.
Immortals stalling out just a little bit inside of offices, but are going to be able to come back, get the diffuser down. Biggest notation there for SSG is that Nitro Cell by Chala. It actually ended up getting stuck to the bookshelf that he shot out from under, so it did no damage because of the wraparound of the damage of the Nitro Cell. Usually isn't fatal unless they're right on top of it, but Redeemer being very, very clutch. Especially with that Echo. We don't get to see him play Echo too often anymore just because of how proficient he is with Maestro. But, I mean, he is one of the original adapters of Echo, so to see him back on Echo, especially in this matchup when it is do or die, is a special thing.
But you almost always see the Echo ban instead of the Maestro ban. It's usually the other way. It's usually the other way around of what we have now.
So good.
So yeah,
Alt
pretty much.
So good.
Nobody wants to get rid of it, basically, and lose that massive utility that you have, especially considering that that Maestro is pretty much guaranteed to be alive at the end of the round if he's playing the way you'd normally expect a Maestro to play. So it's good for those clutch situations, too. We've already seen plenty of really crazy Maestro clutches over the past few months since he's been added to the game. Yeah,
and if Redeemer begins to really, show his face as often as he usually has in the past with his Echo play, then IQ is definitely going to be an adaptation that Immortals will pick up, especially just due to the fact that she has a fantastic gun as well. She has actually the hardest hitting AR in the game, if you guys did not know. The 5.52 Commando with a damage margin of 52, if I remember correctly. Extremely damaging assault rifle. The AUG is actually, in my opinion, the best out of the two, just because it shoots a little bit faster and has less recoil, but that's just me.
Well, moving forward past your personal opinions, we'll get ourselves into the next round.
Everyone cares about the pros.
Yeah.
Let's talk over them. I suck at this game.
Obviously, with the defense being successful for the guys on SSG, they'll move downstairs into the workshop site, I do believe, to play for their second round now. Try to continue to build things up. Very chaotic end to that round once again, as we've been seeing a lot of teams adapt here so far throughout SI 2019. It's Immortals that start things off with a very low time next gear that they just barely are able to find a plant for in the corner of the armory site. But of course, Redeemer would eventually close out that 1v2. Very nice fashion as well. Nice patient play from him too. He knows he still had the planter at the time of that happening, still stuck in the corner because of the yokai drones that had held him back and delayed him. So waiting for that run out to happen, had an easy close out on the 1v1 there. Then it was just a matter of taking down the last member alive from Immortals in that final 1v1 that he had.
Immortals doing very good on the information game, and I know that's for a fact why they are having Redeemer stick to this Echo as well as having Chala on the mute. They're trying to just delay as long as possible, especially upstairs right now, as you guys can see Redeemer moving his yokai over to try and assist over here in Armory as the ADS will be burnt. They're going to recognize out that there's yet another. They're trying to burn out these ADSs so that Cyber can get some of his Kandalas in there, but he's going to find one of Redeemer's yokai drones, and this is going to get suddenly a little bit easier for the offense. Rampy, though, going to take out Bullet in the process, and that means no more grenades for the offensive players.
That second yokai should still be alive, however, for Redeemer, meaning he'll still have an opportunity to interrupt the plant, which is the primary use of the yokai drone's active ability. You're on it. Meanwhile, we've got Cyber and Thinking Nade very, very close to each other. Thinking Nade, of course, having to be careful of Any presence comes in from Malone as he is stuck in the corner right now, but Rampy and Bosco both picking up kills. Ying tries to roll into the site, but unfortunately he's quickly taken down. That Cyber being knocked out by a Thinking Nade in the corner on the Bandit. Very easy fashion, leaving just PX alive in a 1 versus 5. Fortunately, a bit of a false start here for Immortals. The Execute just not finding any of the impact they were hoping for, so this round is all but over unless PX can show us some real magic here. Be able to close out the 1v5 with only 45 seconds left. The good news is he does have the diffuser at least, so he will not have to go and scavenge for a drop diffuser elsewhere on the map. He can at least get to the site, but in a 1v5 scenario, it's going to prove incredibly difficult just to get even close to it.
Main things for Immortals here is that they're doing a lot of solo pushing. It's really punishing them. Rampy having 2 solo gunfights from half while winning both of those really disrupted all of Immortals' push. This is just looking very bleak for PX in these last 17 seconds. He's got to try and find 5, and Bosco going to be able to find him from the top of Metal. But again, main thing, solo pushes for Immortals is picking them apart right now, and also the utility that they're bringing on offense really isn't helping them. Everything that is being brought by SSG is counterintuitive to the information game that Immortals is trying to play. They're not bringing a Thatcher. They're not bringing anything to try and disperse any of these bandits or any of these mute disruptors that SSG has been bringing. As well as they're not really bringing much to try and disperse any of the ADSs for Cyber. So they really need to try and bring a little bit more utility to try and help him. Stop these solo pushes and try and get these walls open. I would definitely like to see a Thatcher pick up here, but I don't think we're going to be able to see it.
And we see this more aggressive, almost solo-styled play that you were mentioning here from Immortals with a lot of Brazilian teams. It's very much a LATAM style play.
There we go, Bullet. Bullet's going to pick up Thatcher, ladies and gentlemen, if you weren't looking at the top of your screen while they switched that over. So he dropped the buck, and he is going to pick up the Thatcher. Very smart rotation and op choices for them. He's actually right in the top of the leaderboard right now as well, 2 and 2.
So we switch over to the Thatcher. That'll provide additional utility to get past, namely, that west balcony wall leading into the inside of Armory. There are plenty of other places where they can find it useful too. They're the reinforcement that's going to be sitting on inside of jail. They prove very, very important to breach for the upcoming round, where the sites have now positioned themselves.
Need to get one of those telegraphers so I can just write on the screen and just circle everything.
Circle everything?
Yeah, exactly. But
would be nice.
Yeah, that would be actually insane, especially for this game. It's wild. But I think the biggest thing for Immortals to be concerned about right now is you do not want to feed the beast that is Rampy. You don't want to do it. If Rampy gets confident, that's bad news. That is bad, bad news. Again, there was multiple games inside of the Pro League season where he carried his team to victory. It was very, very close. It was the Bosco Rampy show there for quite a while where they were trying to get their roles figured out. It seems like today they've definitely woken back up. They're playing more as a team, especially after that Empire match from yesterday where it just seemed like team play was not existent.
No, fortunately not. Same to a certain extent, we could say, for the Immortals as well. Beginning 2 rounds here to the individual style of play that they're going for at the moment. It seems like even that is changing now, though. A large focus on this west balcony take once again, trying to limit the risk of players going down without trades.
So you know about bandit tricking, right, Blue?
Yeah.
You ever heard of ADS tricking?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, well, now you just saw it right there. Rampy is actually eventually going to lose it, though. You guys saw him picking it up over and over again while those Thatcher EMPs were going down to try and keep his ADS alive. Final one will find it, though. Redeemer has an Echo drone inside, though, trying to assist Rampy and Chala upstairs inside of CCTV. Immortals really trying to just figure out exactly how they want to take this, and it seems like they want to take this with some ADSs as one will pop up in the window. Cyber's going to go inside. Is he going to be able to find the man on Horseshoe? Yes, he will. It's going to be Rampy down. He knows one's bookshelf, but he's going to drop. He's going to try and cut him off. Is he going to find him? No, Chala going to take about half health right there, as he will be found out by Navi's downstairs.
However, they do finally get control of CCTV. This is the nice staging ground for them to work off of. Also, with some soft destruction in position, which unfortunately we're not seeing a whole lot of it besides Navi's primarily. They are going to be able to get themselves up on top and start breaching the floor and causing issues. Meanwhile, though, Redeemer, he's got an angle to see inside of CCTV. Those monitors, though, are just blocking the body shot that he might have been able to get against Navi's, able to take him down. It's not meant to happen this time. There's a quick impact trick, however, that's going to be tossed over the wall in jail, be able to stop the thermite breach to the inside. And again, this will slow down Immortals drastically, meaning they may be looking at another low time execute. Bullet just looked inside of A. There's relatively no presence here, though, so the team might start shifting their overall attack in this direction. But Redeemer, them picking off finally the first member of Immortals, they're going to have to slow things down. Navi's, though, just on the outside of Workshop, is quick on the trade, taking down Thinking Nade, leaving it on to Bosco. Along with the Echo, Redeemer.
Bosco. Playing his spot, most notably known as Canadian, as he will find M King. Yet another player actually above him playing the vertical angle. Bosco could be in some hot water right now if they choose to try and peek down through the floorboards. He's not going to be found just yet. He's going to peek from Canadian once again, but PX will find him. Redeemer going to find one of his own. Will he be able to find the second one? No bullet. We'll be able to find that kill. And this will be the first round for Immortals on their attack set.
Finally, we were able to find that split appropriately. Like I said, we didn't really I don't think we saw this change out necessarily to a conjoined play, but the more split style play with them actually finally worked successfully for them, and they were able to kind of pinch out and slowly take down the members of Space Station one by one. The success and I think the early time take that they had in CCTV also really helped their case, as it allowed for much greater control over the downstairs rooms as well.
And this is going to be the biggest round for your Immortals fans out there. Will they be able to take over Armory Lockers? This is the most defendable site stat-wise inside of Border. And truly the biggest thing with it is that that last site that SSG just played is one of the hardest sites to defend in this entire map. It's actually Customs as well as Tellers. Those are the two hardest sites to defend. So if they're able to pick up another round while Armory Lockers is still in play, it'd be a good thing. Your best split that you're more than likely going to see between these two teams would be a 4 in favor of SSG and a 2 in favor of Immortals. If Immortals gets any more than 2, then they definitely have won their offensive set.
Well, they already are growing close to that. So they've been able to pick up their first one, as you're mentioning, against one of the more difficult sites for Space Station to successfully defend. The slowing down of their previously relatively straightforward attacks we've been seeing for Immortals, in addition to the just general use of more utility, like the Ying specifically on the last round found massive impact and was quintessential to the capturing of CCTV. Certainly helped their case, guaranteed those 2 kills they got at the beginning of the round, and really helped to snowball things into their favor towards the end there, as they eventually ended up in the 2v4, where Bosco and Shala were not able to close things down.
Same offensive lineup for the offense here. Still bringing the Ying. Kandala is so powerful in the right hands, and Cyber definitely proving that he knows how to play the very flashy operator. As, things will start on Valley once again. See if Immortals will be able to make some lightning strike twice in these rounds on offense, as they are setting their sights on CCTV, but SSG is actually just going to full-on give it up this time, as I'm going to suspect they have set things up relatively the same, and it doesn't appear so, as they are going to have Rampy over the archive side. So they will have the triple wall run. Yep, they will have the triple wall over on the west balcony reinforced. Yeah, so much heavier focus again, as you're mentioning, on the office play, and of course defending this wall. That's right in front of Navi's right now at the west balcony. First name's going to start to go in. Obviously, we got the ADS on the inside thrown out by Rampy, so it's probably going to eat up the majority of these. The third goes out, however, which means they are safe to throw in the Candela. But at the same time, we still have the Yokai drones holding them back, and the Ying doesn't seem to have affected our player in the corner, which I believe is Thinking Nade. Bosco's going to be able to finish off. Chala with a nice peek into the sandwich window is able to find Bullet as well. And Space Station get off to a nice start here, bringing it down to a 5v3, but it will start to get turned around by M King. Not only that, Navi's is now in position to try and push into the arsenal, but seems to have seen something. Sprays about half of his magazine out into the open. Unfortunately gives away his position. Thinking Nade going to find one of his own, as Navi's will go down after a little bit of a mag dump upstairs. This is the part where Chala's mute jammers will come to play, as they are trying to gain more information on what these last players all are. It's all left up to M King and PX, the Jackal and the Thermite respectively, for their teams. Plenty of time left to try and find something. These mute drones are really just ruining everybody's day right now. Is actually, yeah, it's a spectator glitch.
Oh wait.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to see that, as we will switch over to the players, guys. We'll let you know exactly what happens, at least kill feed wise and everything else, while we do try and get this fixed. But 38 seconds left on the clock. We'll try our best to radio host this, as Sneaky Nade will find M King. It's going to be down to a 4v1, but Chala will be able to find PX, and that's another round for Space Station, as they will go up 3-1.
God damn it, Mute. Why'd you have to come and do this to us? You're supposed to jam drones, not the stream.
He's extended. Those things go extremely far right now.
He doesn't want anyone watching these games anymore. He's like, you know what? I've had it with all these nameless spectators watching our training exercises. I'm just going to block them out. I'm just going to mute them out.
Oh, my goodness. Well, all the way from Border to Montreal, that's how far those signals disruptors can go now. So it's quite a ways.
hack the planet, dude.
Hack the planet.
And it is looking like we are going to end up shifting down to the ventilation workshop sites. We're going to get in-game real quick and make sure, of course, that bug is not still affecting us really quickly, and then we should be heading back in the game. Looks like it's good now, so here we go, back into the game, guys, once more. Apologies for that. Thankfully, he didn't end up missing much, as it was still a relatively straightforward closeout to the round that was already down to a 43 in the favor of Spacestation Gaming. They now lead 3-1 after taking control of the armory for the second time.
I guess Chala's a hacker confirmed, right? That's what it is, I guess. I don't know.
Just hiding strats, you know?
Yeah,
it's a new meta. You don't want just mute the stream, forehead.
Just don't give up information, smile. But Chala's not going to be playing mute anymore, so we won't have to be concerned about that one, at least for this round. Redeemer is still going to bring the Echo, though. He's been quite effective so far with it, especially gaining information. That's the biggest thing about Echo. You want to use those yokais as much as possible to gain information. They're not just for plant denial. They're a mobile drone for the defense that you can rotate with your roamers to try and find offenders and help out those roamers try and get informative gunfights.
Again, it's going to be a bit of a slow start here for Immortals. It's like they are going to try to jump in and take quick control of CCTV, though. Nafi's already on the inside through the balcony doorway and is going to rush his way directly in and take control there. As for the rest of the players here on Immortals, it looks like they're probably going to follow suit relatively quickly. You can see M-King moving in here in just a moment to regroup. They've got Navi's doing a little bit of droning work on the other side of the second floor right now. You can see his drone in the distance. We do have one running away, and there's the nice track that actually goes off onto that player. They are going to try to isolate him out on the other side of the site. I believe that might be Bosco that they might have got the scan onto. He's roaming around right now inside of the office.
Still like to see a little bit of adjustment in operator lineup. It seems that M-King really hasn't been too effective on the Jackal. The Jackal footprints really haven't played into much of anything, at least operator kill-wise, or real information. I mean, they are getting the operator of, obviously, who he tracks, but if they switch over to an IQ, you definitely see them having some effect on these yokai drones of Redeemer that he's been doing so well with so far. The spray is going to come out, and it will be confirmed by Chala's. Rampy will get a little bit of damage. That will surely be an assist for him. So looks like things are pretty spread out for Immortals right now. 2 over on the west side and 2 over on the east side as M-King is standing inside of Fountain, trying to see if he can find Chala, trying to rotate out of the backup archives.
Rampy again, still waiting for that push to come in, as you were mentioning, through archives right now with support inside of those archives itself by Chala as he continues to wait into the corner. Again, he was tracked out earlier, so he hasn't really been able to move too much throughout the course of this round, but still is holding a very safe position in the corner anyway, looking to deny any push in from the balcony with those toxic charges should the need arise. Oh, it's Thinking Nay, though, that gets caught in a bad timing on his reposition. M-King already ADS'd in directly onto the door. Navis is going to have similar luck as he's able to find Chala, but the response coming in from Rampy on a quick rotate. However, he too is caught out by a quick adjustment. M-King committing to the push inside of Archives quickly trades him back down to the ground, leaving us in a 3v2. Advantage to Immortals. Obviously still a little bit detached though on that second floor, but with 40 seconds left, we're going to need to see them regroup quickly and get ready to go for a fast execute. Thankfully, they've only got one player on the site to deal with. Bosco is still roaming around, trying to get the maximum amount of use out of his goo mines.
Redeemer going to play the long angle here with his ACOG. Light's going to help him out just a little bit over there in the corner. Bosco going to get smoked out, though, as they will be able to confirm that he is on metal. Going to rotate inside for B. This could be stopped by Redeemer here if he gets the proper shots, but it doesn't seem like he's going to find him as he does spray through. And he's actually going to get shot in his feet more than likely here. He's going to rotate around. We'll be able to find him with the bearing. No, M-King going to be able to take down Redeemer. It's going to be all left up to Bosco. Him in one goo mine, possibly an impact grenade, but it's not going to land on anything. He should just pull that pin. Over inside. This is where Jackal's going to come up massive, but no, M-King's going to get his head removed for him. No longer will that Jackal track affect Bosco. About halfway through the timer on the diffuser, going to have to act fast is Bosco if he wants to try and clutch this up, but post plant's already been set up by Immortals, and they will find Bosco. So that's going to be round number 2 on offense for Immortals. So far, a pretty clean set by both of them. Adjustments on both sides, really helping out both of these squads.
Definitely had to work for that one, too, considering the amount of time that they got stalled just outside of the archives room, which they were really looking for control over a large part of that round. Thankfully, they were able to get the trades going into their favor by only a one-man advantage, to be fair. Like I said, we're going to be looking at a lot of close rounds in this game, and that was definitely one of them up until the point where we had Immortals to finally take control of the site. That's when it definitely started to shift much more into their favor. Space Station ultimately losing those upstairs rooms. was the beginning of the death bell for them on that round. So we will see Immortals pick up the second, taking us into the 6th and final round of the first half, after which we are going to see Immortals jump onto the defense and Space Station onto the attack.
And actually, the biggest keynote for me on that round is actually the patience of Immortals.
Yeah.
That upstairs attack. I know we love, talking about the Brazilian teams and how aggressive they can be, but their patience right there to wait for someone to slip up upstairs was huge.
It's a big change even from what we were seeing at the beginning of the game, where they were kind of just running through their executes whenever they were limited on time. Now they're not necessarily doing that anymore. They're okay to stress the time a little bit more if that means that they're going to, as you were mentioning, wait for someone to adjust, make a mistake. I think the biggest example we saw that with Thinking Dave, who got caught in a pretty massive rotate. I think he was trying to run into Archives to assist there, but it was M-King already aimed in on the Archives doorway that was leading in from Office that found a very easy kill as a result of that. And again, that's just the nice patience from them. Right now, Immortals are doing a good job of adjusting their pacing to line up with Space Station's playstyle.
And again, I'm going to put a little bit of weight just on Redeemer right there, just due to the fact that it really didn't seem like he was trying to rotate his yokai drone around to try and gain that information. If they had that information inside of Fountain, definitely could have helped him out just a little bit, but it seemed like he was more or less concerned about the downstairs area, them trying to go for sight. But, you live and you learn, it happens. Not everyone is perfect.
A lot better utility usage, I think, in these later rounds has been coming out from Immortals as well, compared to what we were seeing at the beginning, where they were relying pretty much just on intel that they were getting from their droning pretty much alone. Whereas, obviously, now we're seeing fully set executes even just to take control of some of the less important rooms across the map. Using things like the Incandelas, like we were seeing to take control of CCTV 2 or 3 rounds back, that worked out great for them. Was a great example of them increasing their utility usage to just guarantee they're going to have a successful execute.
Cyber using a little bit of hardcore off the roof to knock his way down to the ventilation. See, we'll get in a couple gunfights as he tries to close down the back of Archives, and he's going to do so as everyone will rotate out. Looks like this is going to be mostly just him, as M-King's going to rotate his way over to the top of Metal, looks like, as everyone's going to start to drop down for SSG. Yeah, they are going to just more or less focus on the upstairs take once again. Chala now getting Jackal tracked, and this Jackal of M-King's actually been a little bit more effective since the last round, as there is only 2 people upstairs. It's going to be Rampy as he does hop inside of the mini office. As you see M-King start to motion his way up to Beepers. Rampy might be punished here, but he's not the one being tracked. It is Chala, as he does still have 2 of those Toxic Babes on his person. Rampy dropping all of his ADSs inside of Mini, trying to keep Chala alive so no one can nade him out the back of lockers.
Oh, Rampy once again. That's always frustrating. Trying to pop open the window that's inside of the armory desk right now. Get rid of that pesky piece of wood before he could actually have some vision, but he does have it now to try and spot an additional push. PX, in the meanwhile, nearly actually having a shot line up for himself there, which is a little bit too late on the peak itself. The flashbangs going in. Both look like they are going to connect, but a spam fire coming back in for the SSG members, and here we go. Here come the Candelas. It's time for Space Station to panic, and look at this as well. Navi's going right on flank watch after he throws those in. That's a teammate right there. Meanwhile, PX and the rest of Immortals have pushed themselves in. Navi's actually had intel, it seems like, just absolutely destroys Redeemer. Thinking Nade Rampy, and Thinking Nade once again bring it back, but Navi's will attempt to save it. Moves himself in. He did get Guman in the process, though, so he's got to take a moment out of this fight in order to correct that. We're down to a 2v3. Advantage to Space Station, but only slightly. However, the key point, they still have the upstairs. Guys on Immortals do not. Chala creeping down the main stairs, finds another pickup. Bullet will be able to get the plant somehow, sneaks that in, but now locked into the 1v3. He's got a lot of work to do. A good start, however, finding Chala. It's over to the pistol as he's out of ammo on his main weapon. Walks right up into a second, triggers a Gumine, though. He's going to be in trouble for a moment as he needs to get that out, but where's Rampy? He's nowhere to be seen. I just saw his cell. He's on the other side of the map right now. He's got to make a mad dash in, and unfortunately he's not working with the greatest amount of intel either here. He just got to take a guess as to where he would be. He'll start the counter defuse. I don't know if Bullet heard it or not. He'll rush out. Seems to have realized it, gets Rampy off it, but it won't matter as we see Bullet closing down the 1v3 and giving the round to Immortals.
A very hard-fought match down here for Bullet, as well as the Ying. That was absolutely insane. Navi's on that Ying, making some massive plays here. You okay? You need a breath? You good? Oh, man. Blue was going a million miles a minute there, ladies and gentlemen. But after that very hard-fought round by Immortals, they're going to tie it up 3-3. For those Brazilian fans at home, I know you guys are definitely happy about that one. SSG just kind of running out of stuff there at the end, honestly. They had a very good counter-active plan to try for that retake. It just really didn't work out for them. You guys saw the commitment from the hatch. They even had vertical angles still being played by Rampy upstairs, but that quick thinking by Bullet, able to clean that one up on the Thatcher. really sealed the deal there for Immortals. We'll see if they can make that exact same thing happen here as they go on the defense. And they're going to start things off in a very predictable location. They're going to actually, I believe they're downstairs.
No, I think it's, is it? It was selected.
Oh, no, it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was about to say, because I saw Armory Lockers.
Yeah, I saw it, but I was like,
screen.
yeah. Anyways, like, very predictable location. Oh, wait, no, it's downstairs. That's what, no, Armory Lockers.
I mean,
chosen for Immortals.
It would definitely be rare, right? But it wouldn't be too far out there. It would throw the attacking team off a little bit, I feel like. But this site is still by far the preferred starting site, just with how easy it is to defend it in comparison to everything else.
Yeah. The biggest thing for me right now is going to be the fact of how much utility the offense is bringing, especially inside of Thinking Name and Bosco. We're going to have IQ and Thatcher. It's going to be a massive thing. Mute, though, getting picked up by PX, and that's going to affect Charles' utility just a little bit, but the whole thing is you have to be relatively close to a mute jammer in order to not get your phone ringing. And also there's no echo on the defense. There's a lot of information going to be brought from Navi's on the Valkyrie, as well as some denial from the other operators.
Well, again, it's a slow start for these guys. The Space Station, of course, will be taking their time with things to clear out and just knock out a few of the easy default cameras they can find from the outside of the building, just to give away as little intel as possible. The members of Immortals now who are going to be playing. Actually, it looks like pretty spread out. We'll take a look again at the top-down view here and see how exactly they're going to be looking to split their players up. We've got Cyber actually holding inside of CCTV. M-King extended out into the office a little bit as well here to play out for that. And it actually looks like Immortals, at least when it comes to the second floor, definitely have a pretty spread out presence here. They're looking to deny as much room as possible for SSG, but SSG has their own roaming presence coming in, or their droning presence, excuse me, starting to come in here. And it definitely looks like with 2 or 3 drones checking this area out that CCTV is going to be the initial goal here for SSG.
And Immortals starting to extend that patience as they are just kind of showing face and backing off, making SSG question if they do want to try and take over this section of the map. Rampy's actually going to dedicate himself downstairs, see if he can find possibly a Polish or someone under lines. He will drone himself in from the main door. Bullet going to start things off, though, for Immortals. On to Thinking Nade. That means no more Thatcher, no more of those EMPs to try and help out. There is nothing to stop them from getting any hard destruction, though, except for PX, which can be handled by Bosco from underneath, or if they use Rampy's soft destruction to try and blow up one of those signal disruptors. But so far, SSG moving pretty slowly, and Immortals not giving them much room to breathe. Yeah,
like we said, with the very spread out amount of control that Immortals went for on the top floor, it seems like they've done a good job of denying mostly everything that SSG wanted to accomplish in the early round here. So only losing Thinking Nade and doing pretty much no damage on the return, except for Navi's losing about 5 or 10 HP. It's not going to leave SSG in a very comfortable position. Look at this, they're still spending a whole lot of time droning this out too. They just have a focus around CCTV in that west balcony, and if they can't get in from here, which we're only going to just now start to see toxic bases in, so it's going to be very hard for them to get in here, they may not even have a chance at a plant. Timer might just end them here.
Yeah, Timer might just end them. And another thing, there is 2 nitro cells on the people that are very close. And they've literally moved all of the troops over to this side of the map on the west side. This spot by M-King. Beautiful, beautiful shot.
He can just actually angle the door from here.
Yeah, you can angle the door from here as well, from underneath the hatch. Very peculiar angle that people don't check. You're not going to look for somebody aiming at you from the ground, especially from a hatch. Navi's going to find Bosco, though. Now we'll take out the clutch master himself. Chala going to catch a nade, or excuse me, a nitro cell. Second one not going to make any contact, though, as Rampy will find 1, but a Redeemer's going to get taken down. Rampy going to find 2. Can Rampy find 3, ladies and gentlemen? Only 8 seconds left on the clock. He's going to whip out the pistol. No, he's going to get countered by Bullet, as well as a man chilling inside of the hatch. As you can see the smoke just dancing on top of the server.
So, unfortunately, the lack of control upstairs and across the map in general leaves Spacestation Gaming with very little room to execute, and of course, obviously very little time as well. And the fact that they hadn't really pressured that western armory wall up to that point allowed for all 3 toxic babes to stay alive throughout the course of that round, along with the 2 nitro cells that came in towards the end there. One of them, of course, found a kill. Just a no-win situation, unfortunately, for SSG, as they'd been denied when they tried to take control of CCTV or any other part of the top floor.
Massive thing for Immortals on that one was their information game, especially with that Valkyrie. They were able to rotate all of their players over into Armory Lockers to try and prevent that push. Those black eye cams coming up massive right there, especially being able to deny the information game of the offense as well with that mute. They had no idea what was going on inside of offices. They all stack inside of CCTV, let the timer get down to the point where they really can't make an adjustment if they want to, so they have to try and force Armory Lockers, which is exactly what you do not want to do when the defense has so many explosives, as shown by Chala catching one of those. So 4-3 in favor of Immortals, as their defensive set's looking pretty good right now. SSG is going to have to make an adjustment here, otherwise Immortals looks like they might just keep running with it.
Well, obviously the first site is the easiest, so we shall see if Space Station will have a little bit of a better time now that Immortals' own defense will be tested slightly more. Heading over to the workshop for the second site, I would imagine. Didn't actually get to check it, but yep, that's where we are, right below the armor, which means we're probably still going to see a lot of play here in the archives of the armory, as it oftentimes very much determines if the attackers will be able to easily get control of the sites on the first floor or not. Since, we obviously have the destruction that can come in from there.
Yeah, we'll definitely agree with this. Wise man once said, first time's a mistake, second time's a coincidence, and third time's a pattern. So we'll see if they're going to be able to ramp this up a little bit and possibly take this entire set, or at least for the first map, on defense. This SSG seems like they want to do a little bit more of the same, as they will start looking inside of CCTV, but Cyber will see Redeemer's drone. So SSG appears that they do want to start on the southwest side of the map once again.
Looks like it's going to be a slow lead up for the most part here for SSG. Once again, Cyber trying to get as an intel as possible. He wastes no time abandoning ship inside of CCTV, though. As soon as he gets spotted out by a drone, there wasn't even really any nearby players from SSG that could have pressured him, despite him being caught out with a drone, but he wants to take no chances here. He'll immediately fall back downstairs.
Well, it's kind of been their main mantra the entire time they've been on defense so far, is kind of just show face, back off, show face, back off, show face, back off. Okay, you have no time. Okay, now we kill you. They don't want to take the gunfights, especially with Cyber being on that Legion. I know fully that he wants to try and get as many goo mines on the map as possible. Space Station likes being aggressive. Aggressive when it's under that minute marker, especially with Rampy. If he's able to find any pathway into sight, he will take it. So those goo mines are going to play a big part of that. Only bad news for them is that they do have Bosco on the IQ, which could definitely take out quite a handful of those goo mines.
So we do have a Rampy. Looks like he's going to be moving in conjunction with Chala, who will be checking out that main hallway around the corner.
Oh no.
Cyber's got a great lineup for this, though. Oh, like before he was potentially going to get both players. The phone call nearly saving Rampy's life. He notices it just too late, though. So Cyber is allowed to come in, poke for a kill, taking out the Buck as well, most importantly, and then safely falling back. We'll continue to chuck those little mines and continue to annoy Immortals, or excuse me, continue to annoy Space Station further and further.
So once again, Immortals playing the long game here. Nobody wants to get, overzealous or overconfident. Get taken out. PX going to find one of his own, though. That's going to be Chala. Chala will get a little peeky as he will get found. PX going to find yet another one. That's going to be Redeemer. No more Thermite. Thinking Nate and Bosco, the last two alive. Speaking of which, Bosco will go down as well. It's all left up to Thinking Nate as he is rotating through Passport and into Customs. It's going to be a gunfight against Cyber as one of the as one of the goo mines will go off. Smoke going to dedicate himself through towers, but he's going to see Valkyrie as well. He's going to flip around, but no, Cyber will find him with a pistol. And that's going to be yet another round for Immortals as he's going to check to see if the C key will work. And it indeed does.
Nicely done by Cyber over the course of the round, really just running circles around the guys from Space Station. Obviously is able to quickly ditch away when he gets droned out inside of the CCTV room, but then is still able to find impact with another kill later on in the round, and then I believe a follow-up as well towards the end of it. So great stuff coming out from him, along with the rest of Immortals as so far. This is looking like a very one-sided defense in their favor. Space Station really struggling, to knock out this roaming presence, first of all, which is something that Space Station themselves weren't really able to do that well when they were on defense. And then besides that, again, just never leaving themselves really enough time to accomplish anything if they can even get to that point.
Well, honestly, it's the lack of droning. That is really what's punishing them right now. They're trying to take control of sections of the map that they really don't have that much information on, or they have one drone committed to. And this entire style of play so far by Immortals has been a hit-and-run style of play. And they're letting SSG kind of come into the fold of what they're doing. Immediately just give them a little tappers, go, hey, I'm here. They leave. Off to another section of the map where they have no idea where they are. There was no drone presence downstairs when Rampy got killed, ladies and gentlemen. They had no idea what was going on inside of Customs. He did shoot a drone when he got down there, but they weren't know where he was. Yeah, no one saw him. So
some good movement from Immortals is making it incredibly difficult for Space Station to drone out as Immortals continue to change their positions in too fast of a manner, which is actually a very nice strategy for these guys to play off of. Tried to do similar things on the attack to keep the defenders guessing, but it didn't work nearly as well. But here on the defense, it's worked perfectly. The opening two sites of Immortals' defense placed them only 2 additional rounds away. One of those is more than likely going to end up rotating back up to the Armory lockers. So if they can close out this one, they're only one round away, and on the easiest site, they could close out this map in a 7-3 fashion if we don't see Space Station waking up here soon.
And I think, honestly, SSG's biggest deal right now is their drone economy. It doesn't get talked about too often, but what will be talked about is Rampy's actually going to get traded out from a nade. And thinking nade going to find Cyber, as Cyber committed himself outside to take out Rampy. So, but Rampy's going to find a death from the grave. You don't really see that, or excuse me, a kill from the grave. You don't see that too often inside of Rainbow Six Siege when someone dies and then kills somebody immediately after. Happens in other games, but not really inside of Siege. More or less, you're just going to see trades. But speaking of trades, none is going to come out for Navi's as he does take down Redeemer. M King, as well as one of his compadres, will sit inside of Customs as SSG is trying to pick it apart. They don't have any more soft destruction unless Bosco has brought breaching charges, so they're more or less just going to have to fire through soft wall and see if they can find anybody. It's very spread defense still by the Immortals as Chala will find M King, and that's going to clear out one of the sites. But again, they do not have any soft destruction. Can we actually switch over to Bosco, please? I'd really appreciate that. I want to see if he has breaching charges, see if they can get inside. He does have breaching charges, so they can still get through these castle barricades if needed, as well as make a couple other lines of sight. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Nade that we did see tossed over the walk back over there towards jail was again meant to counter out the player that would normally come an impact trick over that same wall to stop the thermite breach from happening. So not only guarantees you knock out the wall, but you've got a pretty good chance of getting a kill on top of that too. So it's a good start for the guys on SSG. Unfortunately, we are going to see that Nitro Cell go right into the glass, will not find the impact that it was looking for, and Bosco will take out Navi's in the process. Chala now in position to go for the plant. Bullet trying to make a direct push into the face of two SSG members means he will get eliminated very quickly, giving Space Station their first round on the attack.
You don't see the SMG-12 too often anymore just because of the recoil, but it is still such a fantastic weapon in close range. 33 bullets in that SMG. Shoots just about the same speed as the SMG-11, if not a little bit faster as well. So if you can get that sight line on somebody in close range, we'll absolutely melt. I do think the biggest thing for SSG on that last round there was that they played the long game. They weren't overzealous. They didn't try to push too hard, even though, you know, when it got down to the chips on the table, it was getting very close. I think the spread defense there by Immortals is really what punished them. They tried to keep people upstairs to keep the vertical angles alive, but the biggest thing would have been trying to play the trade game, get it down to where it would be either a 2v1 or a 1v1, try and clutch it out. But as of right now, Immortals still in the lead, 5-4.
Cyber's roam game, which was, especially the second round, really quintessential to, at the very minimum, delaying SSG from getting to his site, was not nearly as successful as previous rounds too. He still got the 1-for-1 trade on the run out there, but he had two that he could have potentially picked up in that situation. And that on top of the fact that they did find the kill with a nade that was tossed in to counter out the impact trick, allowed for SSG to have a pretty good advantage right from the start of that round as well. So they make things easier on the closeout for them. But, of course, with the 3-round rotation being completed, Immortals can now go back upstairs into the Armory Archive site, which, as we saw before, Space Station truly struggled with. Now, this is an easy fix, though, because Space Station were just a little bit too focused on their play towards the CCTV area of the map, and we're really banking on that in order to follow that up to their eventual execute. And because that wasn't so successful, obviously, and because of the fact they didn't have any pressure on that western wall beforehand, they just didn't have enough time to get themselves in. All they really have to do is throw a little bit more pressure, even if it's just 1 or 2 players trying to bait out some early toxic bait or something like that towards that western wall, and they should have a much easier time, even if they run into the same issue they did at CCTV on that first round. Obviously, with the mute still in check and them having droning issues in the past rounds, that could lead to the same situation happening again here. Just a general lack of intel and an unknowing of what's going on across the inside of the second floor here, where we saw Immortals splitting their players up before. It looks like they've done the same thing again, as they've got a nice spread out hold here, looking way more to shut SSG down before they even get to the site, rather than playing for the end game and preventing the plan.
Bosco still sticking on the IQ, which he did mostly during the match yesterday, and he's going to find one, but to get immediately traded out by Doc, being played by Bullet, is Chala. Will ring everyone's phone, so you guys better answer that before something bad happens. Typically how you feel about those logic bombs. Rampy going to playing some vertical angles from underneath, actually, as he's going to commit a nade, but Immortals is long gone. That's not going to find anything. This has been one thing, though. These rounds have started very, very quickly. There's always an initial pick around the 2-minute mark, which is something you don't see a lot when people are trying to play those longer games, you know, information game, try and just get everything down to just site execute, site execute, site execute. This so far has been a lot of trading on both sides, especially from Shala as well as Redeemer.
Well, again, time will start to force the SSG members to the inside of the building. CCTV has been abandoned this time by Immortals instead of a direct hold on, but the mid-hall still could cause issues for these guys if they are not careful. This is where they ran into problems in the last round, too. I believe ended up losing Thinking Nade, which led to that eventual 5v4 push. Charles going to set himself up here. Remember, he still has one logic bomb to deploy for the actual execute, too. They used the one before to try to fish players out, and I think it was a relative success forcing the members of Immortals at minimum back over to Archives and Office area, which that side of the map we haven't seen Spacestation really pressure too much at all. So Immortals still have a lot of room to maneuver there. But with just under 40 seconds left, once again, we are going to start to see those toxic babes just pulled out because of the fact that, well, he can afford to do so at this point, and he won't have to worry about running out before the end of the round. Rampy, in the meanwhile, again, I believe throwing a nade onto the inside of the sandwich window is not going to find success in doing much damage here. We have the attacker smokes moving their way out as well to allow them to start for a slow push in and attempt to plant. But again, same problem. You still have those toxic babes in there. We have Rampy moving up the main stairs, trying to make progress, but Immortals are going to read this like a book. They're too well set up for this, and Space Station have done nothing else to detach this. They've done nothing else to split this up. They will move in. Thinking Nade gets one kill for himself. We'll try to force the issue on the plant. In a 1v3, though, let's see if they find him. There we go. I heard a knife or someone trying to knife there. It didn't end up working out, though. M-King works his way through CCTV, finishes off the round, and once again, a very one-sided affair here on the Arsenal site goes by the way of Immortals.
I know we were talking a little bit earlier on, actually, in this round, saying that things have been starting off pretty quickly. There's usually a pick around the 2-minute mark, whether it be a trade or just an outright pick from one of the teams. And it seems that once that pick happens, everything just slows down. Space Station really doesn't know how to come back from that. They needed to start combating that fear and trying to get some more picks, because as of right now, Immortals is just identifying where that last second push is going to come from. They isolate all of their angles, and then SSG has to play into that. It's very hard to try and combat an ACOG angle that's already being held. The only thing you can really do is pre-fire, and if you don't catch their head, you're more than likely dead.
Well, it's going to go down to Vent Workshop now for what could be the final round here, as Immortals are looking to close out 7-4 against SSG. And for them, it is their last chance now to battle back into this. Try to bring it back. Fortunately, regulation win is no longer possible for SSG. Their best bet now is to tie it up at 6-6, triggering overtime, and then they need 2 additional rounds in order to close out the map into their favor. Only the first map, though, folks. We've got plenty more coming up after this.
Nice. Wanted that camera to be a little bit higher there, but apparently really didn't get what he wanted.
Well, fortunately, Valk has a good throwing arm. She doesn't have extendable arms to retrieve those cameras on mistake, though, so that one is going to be stuck there for the rest of the round.
She's not Mrs. Fantastic.
No, unfortunately not. So no stretchy arms in order to get that back.
I think the main thing for SSG on these following attacks is, you know, just calm down. It seems like they're very rigid right now. I mean, every time they go to the camera, everyone's just, there's no emotions. Everyone's just trying to, you know, force their nervousness down. It really seems like this has been a nervous team so far, really not wanting to take over the certain areas of the map that they know that they can get. They have some of the most skilled gunsmen in North America on this team, Rampy and Bosco, and they just don't want to try and play aggressive against this Brazilian squad, apparently.
They do not. At least not when it comes to taking the upstairs. Downstairs, they've been a little bit more adventurous with wanting to try and force the issue against some of the roamers here from Immortals, but I think with like this play right here being the exception, we haven't really seen any members of Space trying to take the initiative within the first minute or two to try and push themselves to the inside of CCTV or the offices.
And SSG appears to be worried about if someone's going to try and nitro cell them from underneath the office, which is always a main concern. There is no pulse though, but they could play the information off of Navi's Valkyrie cam. No one has been shot out earlier on, but sound cues still exist as they will start to delve into Armory. Shala going to start things off right. M-King going to go down as SSG has taken over Archives. Now this is really where they're going to have to be concerned about these nitro cells. They got so many people stacked up and they have not really moved just yet. Still a nitro cell on PX, so you can definitely make it happen. Look at all those bodies above him through the floor. Cyber playing the back of Armory, and he's going to be able to find one bullet as well. And Shala, as he will rotate across Armory, will be able to find another one. No, he will not. Bosco gonna be able to find Cyber.
Defender is approaching a kill zone.
Navi rotates inside of the armory from the top of East Stairs, going to see if he can see what he can see inside of offices. PX decides to lay down inside of sight, take a little bit of a chill pill, wait for something to happen with SSG.
About 50 seconds left here as well. Immortals are still going to be in the hot seat now between PX and Navi's. Navi's, nice timing though, gets up, catches Bosco off guard to find that trade. Will try to run back under the East Stairs, but misses Redeemer out on the balcony directly behind him. As such, it will fall. It's down to PX. 30 seconds left, however, for SSG to get it and find the plant. PX, unfortunately not on the smoke, will not be able to delay. Also wrapping the incorrect direction right now. Almost ends up walking right out into the faces of SSG on the other side of the stairs. He will get a hard ping to help him out with a little bit of intel, and he falls into the depths of the server room. He's going to get pinched from both directions, but again, the goo mine helping him out, and an additional ping. He'll actually run all the way through ventilation room to try and help this out too, but again, gives away some sound intel in the process. He's missed that hard ping big time, and as a result, Chala has repositioned to the inside of the server room and will be able to take him down, keeping Space Station in the game.
Chala isn't talked about too often on the SSG roster just because, you know, the main three that usually get talked about is going to be Bosco, Rampy, and Thinking Nade. Those are mainly the three that people enjoy focusing on. Chala is just an outlier that doesn't get talked about too often, but he's definitely coming up clutch right now on this Dokkaebi, having some massive plays, very clutch rounds, especially that last round right there. This is kind of a do-or-die situation for them as well. 6-4, but now 6-5. They have to do it one more time, ladies and gentlemen. Ventilation room / workshop is going to be the site once again. Do not want to try their luck inside of customs on the defense. Now, the main thing for the offense is just try and find that synergy again. They did really well on their upstairs attack this time around, but if Valkyrie has a little bit of a better cam, then a Nitro Cell could come out and just completely unfold their entire offensive strategy. Really could be punishing in the proper context. But Chala actually leading the charge on his team, 9-7 so far. Rampy 9-10. He's died in almost every single round. We've only played 11 rounds so far. This is going to be round number 12. So Rampy more or less even across the board. But no echo once again for the defense, as Bullet will once again don the man that is Doc. Everyone loves to talk about now. That's mainly due just because of how powerful his gun has been, ladies and gentlemen. That MP5 with the ACOG is so good in the proper hands, and Bullet definitely is showing how he can flaunt that right now.
Stock play will continue on for Bullet. Meanwhile, for Space Station, after finally finding their courage to push into the second floor of the building a little bit earlier on in the round, they've found some success once again on their attack. And I think that's because once more there wasn't as much roaming presence there that time for the Immortals, so the droning was easier, and as a result they were able to confidently push in to the offices early in the round and take control, which then acted as more of a staging point. That's been the problem in past runs. They failed to really acquire a staging point, whether it's like CCTV and trying to take Armory or one of the downstairs sites as well, or even just the offices like we saw in the last round. They haven't really been able to get that up until round 11. But finally that has changed, which certainly has to worry Immortals, considering they now only have one additional round to try and shut this game out for themselves. Comes the push from Chala onto the inside. In fact, they're going to drone with the push this time around as Chala moves in to directly clear out CCTV. And once more, they'll take it without much contest. Immortals are going to choose to fall back and not play for control in this room.
Activating drone.
Well, Blue, it's been a minute down and no one's dead, so that's a little bit different. So that
is true, yeah.
I mean, that's been kind of the entire story of this game so far, is there's either an initial pick by one of them or an immediate trade, and then everyone just kind of has to pick up the pieces around said dead operator.
That might be, I've noticed the Immortals are playing very close to the chest right now, except for like kind of Navi's just extended a little bit more, which we've kind of expected. He's been that player throughout most of this game so far. But I think they might be overcompensating a little bit just to play it safe, since this is the last round of regulation. They probably want to try and get a clean closeout here. And as such, they might be, in general, trying to adapt a more passive strategy just for this last round. Yeah,
they've slowed down quite a bit. And again, it's funny because that's the main thing that everyone talks about with Brazilian rosters, is that they play so fast, they play so aggressive. This Immortals roster is playing very slow, very patient, and it is working for them. That's the main thing. I will say that it hasn't been as coordinated as it possibly could be, but is working out for them, and that's the thing that matters. If you're comfortable in what's going on with your team, then things are more than likely going to work out. That's a huge pick there by Bullet. No more phone calls, and specifically, no more Chala to try and dig SSG out of a hole.
There's still that fear for Space Station that there is a roaming presence for Immortals as well, so I think that they've enforced that, and as such, they can afford to play passively, because Space Station still took the same pace of this round. They're at 40 seconds, and we're only down to a 4v4, and as you can see, SSG, at least when it comes to the first floor here, are nowhere close to the site. They've got upstairs control, yes, but now they got to transition it down, and they don't have a whole lot of time to do that. 30 seconds remaining. We'll take a look and see how exactly they are going to look to change this around. In the meanwhile, Navi's was looking to go for the flank, but he's been forced to go a different direction here. Took a little bit of damage from the outside, in fact. It's now stuck in the corner here at the ventilation room. The diffuser is going to get changed hands as well, but he's going to fall relatively quickly as we see Redeemer getting picked off. And again, another low time to execute situation. Navi's going to get an easy kill against Thinking Nate. Doesn't even see him in the corner. He'll push out. He's lined up some damage onto another one, but will fall there. Bosco gets the trade. He goes down to Cyber, however, and with only one player left, there's not a whole lot Rampy can do, so he's going to dive off, and Immortals, ladies and gentlemen, will take control of map number 1 of the series. 7-5 is the final score, just barely getting it done without overtime, but they will take control of Border and now sit only one more map away from a spot in the playoffs on Friday.
Very patient Immortals squad as they all